Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. I'm Pinky Webb. Today on the program, President Bongbong Marcos expresses concern about the killing of radio journalist Percy Lapid in Las Pinas. Amid deportation issues, the Justice Department flags the spread of sexually transmitted diseases among Pogo workers. Justice spokesperson Mico Clavano joins us in the program. And later, two appointees of President Marcos quit their posts after being bypassed by the Commission on Appointments. Political analyst and Professor Jean Franco shares her thoughts on the program. The Justice Department tasks the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, to look into the killing of radio journalist Percy Mabasa, or more commonly known as Percy Lapid. Lapid was shot dead on Monday evening by two unidentified assailants. President Bongbong Marcos also expressed his concern over the tragic death of Lapid. Also, we get an update on the deportation proceedings for illegal Chinese Pogo workers. Let's go straight to the source of the story. We have Justice spokesperson and Undersecretary Mico Clavano. Yusek, it's good to meet you. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Hi, Ms. Pinky. Thanks for having me on your show.
Okay, a number of topics we need to discuss. First is the DOJ, through Secretary Remulla, actually ordered the NBI, an NBI investigation into the murder of Percy Mabasa. Any information, sir, if a team has already been created?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to extend, of course, our heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Percy Lapid. There's really no place in the country for this type of behavior. No. As an update, yesterday the PNP already released a statement that they would be creating a special task force to investigate the killing of Percy Lapid. And yesterday also, Ms. Pinky, we received a letter from the Presidential Task Force on Media Security recommending the creation of a separate task force to look into the and to see whether the angle was or the murder was caused by work-related issues or non-work-related issues.
So tell us, is there going to be an NBI probe? Is there going to be a PNP probe? And is there going to be a Presidential Task Force on Media Security probe?
I think at the forefront of this investigation will be the Presidential Task Force probe, but they will be closely coordinating with the PNP and NBI to investigate.
Okay, so I guess what's going to happen is, while there could be at least two agencies looking into this, I think the Presidential Task Force, sir, if I'm not mistaken, on media security is supposed to coordinate with the PNP, or particularly possibly the SPD, and then you have a separate NBI probe as well. What aren't they just going to all work together, or is the direction still to find out what really happened, who killed Percy Lapid? Aren't they going to collaborate? Mag-iisa na lang ho ba, o kailangan at least two separate probes pa po, or investigation?
Ms. Pinky, they will collaborate and work closely together as one team to investigate the killing. This will be simultaneous with the task force also created by the PNP. So these two task forces will be at the forefront of the investigation. And hopefully, Pinky, we really get to the bottom of this very soon.
Any information from the NBI on possible witnesses? There is supposed to be a CCTV, and I'm not sure if there's a dash cam as well.
Well, there's no report yet submitted to the Department of Justice at this point. Although we do think, given the magnitude, and the publicity that this case has reached, the NBI and the PNP will really put their best foot forward in trying to figure out all the facts relevant to the case.
Malacanang says it actually wants a report within a week. Do you think that the NBI will be able to give some sort of report to Malacanang, to the president?
Well, I certainly hope so, Miss Pinky. No, it really does depend on the availability of the evidence. I don't think the CCTV is conclusive enough to determine the identity of the perpetrators, of the suspects. So they'll have to look at other things before they come up with I guess, the identity of the suspects.
Right, it happened at night. It happened, I believe, right before he was about to enter his subdivision. That there are actually a number of stories here that supposed to be, it was a riding in tandem who killed him. There was supposed to be another car, pero I think that was already ruled out by the police. There was no other car. It was really a riding in tandem based on supposedly CCTV footage. But again, this happened in the evening. Do you have any more information that you can share with us on this Presidential Task Force on Media Security, sir?
Yes, actually, yesterday, as I mentioned, the OIC, Attorney Pericleo Solis, wrote a letter to the Secretary of Justice. And of course, it recommended the Special Investigation Team on new cases to be formed, provided for by the task force operational guidelines. No? So it cited a certain section that indicates or establishes the operational guidelines to immediately, within 24 hours upon receipt of the information, to name the investigators who will handle the case. This is pursuant to Administrative Order Number 1, which established this Presidential Task Force on Media Security. And I believe the National Press Club of the Philippines, which is a very reputable association of the media, actually sort of acknowledged the accomplishments of the Presidential Task Force. It acknowledged the success of the 2022 national elections, where there were no reported killings of media members. And they urged the president and the Department of Justice to further strengthen the task force. It's been a very good initiative on the part of the government to establish this type of task force to ensure the safety and security of our friends in media. And I just like to say that it's always been a policy of the government to keep the lives of our media and the press very secure. No, there's really no room for this type of behavior. And I think there's always a place for constructive criticism. There's always a place for dissent in a democracy. And so this is a testament to that. The creation of this Presidential Task Force on Media Security really does show a sincere and genuine intention to protect our friends in media.
Just to clarify, Yusek, when was this formed again?
This was formed in 2016. AO1 was passed in 2016 under then President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Under the Marcos administration, though, this has been the second journalist killed. The first one happened last September 18, Ray Blanco, who was stabbed in Negros Oriental. Any information on, siguro, sir, what the government intends to do to be able to help protect journalists?
Yeah, so recently there's been some developments on the Presidential Task Force on Media Security. They created what was called the Media Security Vanguard, whose main task or main mandate is to prevent these types of killings and to protect the lives, no, of our friends in media. And so actually there have been several instances where the Presidential Task Force actually coordinated with the international community on press freedom for the safety of journalists. They coordinated with the United Nations, UNESCO, the European Union, and other media advocacy groups like the CPJ and the RSF. And this is also in partnership with the Department of Foreign Affairs. So it's really been a whole of government approach to really quell this type of behavior. And I think given the acknowledgement by the National Press Club and other associations in media, we feel that we're onto something good here. And given the incident last night, the other night, I think it only sheds light on the importance and the crucial role the Presidential Task Force plays, in this goal, in this mission to really protect the media.
We need to take a very short break. We will be right back. Watching The Source on CNN Philippines. I'm Pinky Webb. Our source today, Justice Spokesperson and Undersecretary Mico Clavano. So just moving forward, sir, what is government's plan to be able to protect journalists?
Well, like I said, we do plan to beef up and to really to bolster our programs under the Presidential Task Force on Media Security. This organization or this task force will be at the forefront of creating programs, creating projects, and plans, no, moving forward to further protect our friends in media. Well, the mandate is basically it's based on the want, no, and the constitutional mandate of the government to protect press freedom, freedom of speech, no? And well, it's really that needs to be filled out. The details of this presidential task force have yet to be discussed by the Secretary of Justice, who sits as the chairperson of the presidential task force. Right now, actually, the secretary is in Geneva meeting with the High Commissioner on Human Rights, and he's been informed about the incident. And I'm sure this topic will come up in the dialogue that we're going to be having. And I'm sure he'll be asking for some assistance, some support from the international community as well. Perhaps to follow certain models that have been created internationally so that we can follow the same here in the country.
Because if we talk about, I'm sorry, sir, the Presidential Task Force on Media Security, and again, I asked that question, how it can help journalists. This AO, as you mentioned a while ago, was created in 2016 during the term of former President Rodrigo Duterte, to which over 20 journalists, last count, have been killed since then. And that's why the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines says that journalism remains to be a dangerous profession in the country. You can imagine in the past 6 years, over 6 years, over 20 journalists killed. So hence, again, it really begs that question, how can journalists be protected even with this Presidential Task Force on Media Security? Possibly also when Secretary Remulla comes back, that is a question that can be further asked to him. Let's talk about Pogo, sir, the issue on Pogos. Any update on the deportation of illegal Pogo workers? Last I spoke to the DOJ secretary, he told me that it was supposed to begin in October, very early on in October.
Yes. So just to provide an update on the Pogo issue or the concern, there are about 371 foreign nationals being held in custody now in Pasig and in Pampanga, who are set to be deported back to their home countries. Out of the 371, there are about 340 who are Chinese nationals and about 41 that are from different nationalities, including Taiwanese and Vietnamese. But moving forward, Ms. Pinky, there's been a change of strategy wherein deportation will no longer be the primary solution. Now we've decided to do a more economical and humanitarian approach by simply canceling the visas of these Chinese nationals. It's been determined by the Bureau of Immigration that there are about 48,782 Chinese nationals whose visa no longer have basis. Meaning to say, as a ground for their cancellation of visa, the legal or factual basis for which the visa was issued no longer exists. And that's precisely the result of the canceling of the Pogo licenses by PAGCOR. So the PAGCOR sent to the DOJ a list of about 175. Although I hear and I've heard reports that this number has gone up to about 214 Pogo companies who have been stripped of their licenses to validly operate here in the country.
Right.
And as a result, employees no longer have basis to stay in the Philippines.
So, sorry, I didn't catch a part of what you said. Forgive me. So you said you want a different approach, a more humane approach. Is that the word you used, sir?
Yes, because there are three ways, Ms. Pinky, no, of removing a foreigner from Philippine territory. First is deportation, and this is a longer process. It requires much more evidence because the grounds for this are basically that the continued presence of the foreign national in the Philippines is injurious to national interest, public safety, public health, and public interest. So these are grounds that have to be proved in a full-blown hearing in front of the Board of Commissioners of the Bureau of Immigration. The second way to remove a foreigner is by summary deportation, wherein the grounds are much narrower and simpler to prove. The grounds here basically include an undocumented foreigner, an overstaying foreigner, or a fugitive of justice.
I see.
And the third, which is the strategy that we are pursuing, is the cancellation of visa, where the grounds are basically that the legal or factual basis for which the visa was issued no longer exists, or that the respondent or the foreigner acquired the visa through
Illegally.
fraud, misrepresentation, or concealment of a material fact.
Opo.
So, yeah, so we believe no that we're ticking all the boxes here.
Why
So
not,
we
but
really
why not
have-
summary deportation, sir? If you already said there are
the
about 371 held in custody in Pampanga and Pasig, 340 of them Chinese nationals, 41 of other nationalities, then isn't an easier process to undertake would be the summary deportation, sir?
Yes, well, for the 371, they will be subject to deportation,
I
perhaps
see.
summary deportation. But moving forward, Ms. Pinky, it seems more economical and humanitarian for various reasons. No? Like first, if we summarily deport these Chinese nationals, the cost for deporting these Chinese nationals will possibly fall on the government.
On us.
So the way it works, yes, but as a general rule, the deportee is the one that shoulders the cost. If in case it's found that they cannot afford or they're unable to shoulder the cost, the embassy or the consulate of the foreign national is supposed to shoulder that cost. And it's only when the consulate or the foreign embassy cannot also shoulder the cost that it falls with the Bureau of Immigration to shoulder all of this. But in the meantime, we'll also have to hold them in custody. We'll have to feed them and make
Yeah.
sure that they're comfortable in their accommodation. And this is something that we can do away if we simply cancel their visa, because in that case, they'll voluntarily leave the country within a period of 59 days. So it seems a lot more economical, given the savings that the government will benefit from, and at the same time, it's humanitarian because we're leaving it up to them to leave on their own volition.
And the 371 that could be summarily deported, when will this happen?
Well, we're looking at this week or next week. So the Bureau of Immigration is currently verifying the identities of these foreign nationals. We have to make sure, Ms. Pinky, that we're sending them to the right country. You know, the Chinese embassy has been very, very helpful in coordinating with us in verifying the identities of
Opo.
these Chinese nationals, they have to make sure that these are indeed Chinese nationals and that they will be taken back by their home country.
And among the 340, how many have been identified as really, truly Chinese nationals?
Ms. Mickey, I haven't gotten the most recent report. I think maybe by today or tomorrow I can ask the Bureau of Immigration through
Okay.
the Commissioner, Normatin Cinco. So and I'll get back to you on that.
All right. Justice spokesperson and Under Secretary Mico Clavano. Sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pinky. Have a good
Breaking news here on CNN Philippines. The Philippine Statistics Authority says inflation accelerates to 6.9%. In September, that's from 6.3% in August. Keep it here on CNN Philippines for more details on this story. We will be taking a short break. We'll be right back.